right, proceed. Proceed.
Mr. Walsh, at the end of that session that day, you asked the defendant how he was able to complete the workout that day, correct?
Yes, I did.
What did he say?
Again, I don't know the exact wording he used. I believe it was something to the fact that he said it's like Sunday, or it's just like game day or something like that, referring to the days of when he played football. I believe that was the wording.
The defendant said that it was like game day.
Something like that, yeah.
And in fact, he went on to explain to you what he meant by that term, correct?
And he just kind of let it go at that, kind of like referring to, the old Sundays when it's time to put the helmet on.
That's something he said?
Yes, I believe so.
Well, what did he say in that regard?
I remember finishing.
What did he say in that regard?
We finished it, and remember we were going to do one run through. And after a little kind of coaxing him, we went through the whole aerobic segment one last time. This was in the, in 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th hour, wherever it was that we finished. And I have to admit, I was amazed that the man was able to do it. I looked, I said, how did you able to do that? Because he was dead set on stopping after the first round, and that's when he made that comment.
The comment being that it's like game day.
It's like game day.
And the defendant told you at that time that back when he played in the NFL during those days, that he'd be a wreck all week, correct?
Yeah, objection on hearsay.
Not at that time.
Okay. Oh, he told you something like that at a later time?
No, at an earlier time.
Okay. Well, when was it that he told you that?
Oh, well,
It was during that when I mentioned we had that break, and we really had to spend 2 hours of virtually doing nothing, and we were just kind of sitting around discussing, discussing football days, discussing other stuff,
And what did
golf and things like that.
Okay. And what did he say to you at that time about being a physical wreck in the NFL?
Mentioning that you wake up Monday morning and feeling pretty beat up, kind of sometimes lasts throughout the week, and again, I don't know exactly the words used, but it was something referring to, and this wasn't the first time I've heard this. I know several NFL football players who kind of mentioned the same thing. So,
Well, you had a conversation with one of my investigators on March 22, 1995. Is that correct?
I don't know. Could
You
I see
spoke-
the transcript?
Okay, you spoke to my investigator, Dana Thompson?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and that conversation was recorded?
That was recorded.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at a transcript of the conversation you had with Mr. Thompson?
I would.
yes.
Let me ask to read to you. I'm going to ask you to read to yourself first of all. I'm going to direct your attention to paragraph 2.
Just the yellow, right?
Just paragraph 2.
Correct. That's pretty much everything I said.
Okay. Does that refresh your recollection as to what you said?
Yeah, and that's kind of the way I answered this. Right.
Okay. Okay. Well, the defendant told you that it was like game day, right?
Right.
And he told you about being in the NFL, right?
Right.
He told you about being a physical wreck throughout the week.
Right.
And then he told you that despite any physical ailments or limitations he felt he might have during the week, he was always able to play on Sunday, right?
Yes.
He told you that he got up for game day, right?
Yes.
He got up for the challenge.
Yes.
Let me just show you a couple more excerpts and I'll be finished.
16:44:27.
Yes.
Just like a little basketball shuffle. Looks like this. Here we go. Step together, we'll step together. Do it again. You ever see basketball players that are way down here? Like that? Okay, let's do it every time. Ready? Here, 2, 3. Good. Just like that. Real simple. Hands up, man. I'm guarding you. My hands are up.
You got no chance, Darden.
Yes.
Watch this pass.
Some lateral movement there.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that he can play in the NBA, right?
Ha, no way.
But he does have some lateral movement.
Right.
You mentioned a few moments ago that the defendant made it all the way through the entire last,
All 3 rounds.
okay. How long did each round last?
Oh, I would say somewhere in the vicinity of 9 minutes
Okay. And how many times did you do each segment?
throughout the day total.
Yeah.
Boy, I would probably say we did each round, I'd say 3 times each at least, and then the last run through, so it's 3 times each, I'd say, maybe 4 times each.
Okay. Now, so would you agree that this defendant could, Mr. Simpson, he could exert himself physically for 2 or 3 minutes at one time?
Yes.
I'd like to show you another way. You and the defendant had a number of brief conversations throughout the day, is that right?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
What's the number? Let me show you 1642, 44. And before we start running this, what's the defendant doing in this still?
Looks like we're just reaching up in the air.
This is 15:48:54.
We're either reaching up.
Let's take a walk. Here we go. Okay, let's do that whole thing over from the top game, but let's add arms. Ready? Here we go. Arms only. That's it. That's it. Now make it a little tighter. You know it. If you feel good, get the intensity up there. Both arms.
Stop
Don't
here.
mind me if I start growling a little bit.
Okay. Now, in this segment, his arms are fully extended in front of him, is that right?
Yes, it appears so.
Okay. No,
That's at 16:42 that we started.
nothing about that clip that would,
Before characterization, fully extended, object for characterization.
Overruled. Mr. Darden.
I'll withdraw the question. Continue, please.
Ready?
Hold it
Let's
just a second.
go.
Hold it. Cut the audio on this.
It's the audio portion we're interested in, Your Honor.
It's already been played 3 times now. Proceed.
But not with this witness. I have questions about the audio portion.
Sidebar with court reporter, please. Thank you, counsel. Proceed.
Mr. Walsh, at one point during the video, the defendant made a comment, something to the effect of, if you hit your wife, you can just blame it on the video.
Rephrase the question. I don't think that's entirely accurate.
At one point in the video, did the defendant state, quote, "I'm telling you, you just got to get your space in if you're working out with the wife. If you know what I mean, then you can always blame it on working out." You recall the defendant saying that?
Yes, I do.
And did the defendant ever mention anything or something about hitting your wife during the video?
Overruled.
No, he never did.
When he mentioned something about getting your space in when you're working out with your wife, was that scripted? Was that part of the script for this video?
No,
You weren't expecting the defendant to say that word?
not at all.
Did you respond to him after he said that?
I know what I responded in my mind.
And in your mind, how did you respond? Did he make that comment only once that day?
No,
He made it another time?
made it twice.
What was the second comment that he made along those lines?
Overruled.
I think it was something along the same line of that.
And the date that this occurred was what, May 20?
May 25th.
Had you met the defendant's wife, ex-wife at that time?
No, I had never met.
You never met Nicole Brown?
No.
You and the defendant wrestled at some point?
Not wrestled, no.
Was there some type of physical contact that you had with the defendant other than what you've already described?
Not that I recall.
If I can have one moment.
Mr. Darden, if a chance, I'd like to bring up something.
No, hold on.
May I approach and confer with the witness for a moment, Your Honor?
Not at this point.
Okay. Are you familiar with the term called the adrenaline factor?
I sure am.
That's a term you've used before?
I don't know if I've used it. I mean, I'm familiar with it. I wouldn't say that I could explain to you what it's all about, but I am familiar with it.
Okay. Well, you were interviewed by Art Harris from CNN on January 31, 1995, right?
I don't know. I mean, it may have been. I remember doing a CNN interview.
Okay. Did you mention something about the adrenaline factor in that interview?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I may have, but I don't recall.
You have an understanding of that term?
I understand what it means, of course.
Okay. What does it mean?
If
Give it a foundation.
Foundation, sustain.
That's okay.
Cochran?
Mr. Walsh, with regard to the day that you spent with Mr. Simpson, the limitations that you had found before the video started, do you find those same limitations at the end of the day?
yes,
In fact, the problems that you described for this jury with his knees, his ankle, his shoulder, still those problems at the end, isn't that correct?
correct.
And the fact that Mr. Darden asked some questions about him being a gamer or whatever that fact is, you're aware of the fact that Mr. Simpson had not played a pro football game for more than 15 years prior to May 25th, 1994, isn't that correct?
Correct.
In fact, you were very surprised at his lack of mobility when you bumped into him and he almost fell over, isn't that right?
Your Honor, this is a leading counsel.
Yes.
All right, let me phrase it another way, please, Your Honor. Thank you. You were very surprised at how Mr. Simpson reacted to when you bumped into him, isn't it?
Your Honor, same objection.
Well, let me rephrase it again. Were you surprised when Mr. Simpson almost fell over when you bumped into him when he was acting like he was holding a ball?
Yes, I was.
And why were you surprised at that?
I just didn't think it was that I touched him that hard or bumped him that hard that he would react the way he did.
And the fact that he's a gamer and he was able to complete these exercises on that particular date, did you ever see him go back over those 20 or 25-pound bags? Was he ever able to do one curl with those bags?
No.
Now, with regard to the times you've appeared on these various shows, and I didn't get all the names, but
Right.
the shows that you did, why were you appearing on these shows?
Well, it's anytime you have a book, anytime you have a movie, anytime you're promoting a project for sale, whether it be a video or a movie, and you see all the people go out and they have to promote their movie or their book or their video. That is crucial. That is the way products are sold to the public when you're trying to sell something along those lines. That is my reason for going on these shows.
And when you went on these shows, did you still tell the truth, as you've told this jury today, about Mr. Simpson's limitations and about how this video took place? You tell the
Yeah,
truth?
I haven't changed the story or since June the 13th, but I haven't said anything different since June the 13th.
Now, with regard to this video, you mentioned this video was an entry-level workout. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so that basically, all of us in this room should be able to do this, the members of the jury, and if we wanted to borrow your video on a Saturday and do this, we could all basically get out and try to do that. Is that right?
I would think so.
I mean, that's entry level, right?
Yes.
All right. If we're in some kind of reasonable shape, we try to do it and could do it, right?
Yes.
All right. And I know with your help, we could do it even better. Is that right?
Much better.
All right. Now, were you surprised at OJ's physical limitations when you first encountered him in this case?
Very, very much.
And why was that? Why were you so surprised?
Well, I'd never had met OJ before the time at the Playboy office. And, you know, after his football days, I really don't have I don't remember anything else he did. I don't remember ever seeing him. I don't remember meeting him, anything like this. So the first time I met him, here's this man who used to run down the field, is now all beat up. It's just and I was a little surprised this was Playboy's choice for a fitness video.
You thought they made a mistake, isn't that right?
I definitely did.
Now, with regard to the times that you described for this jury, that at times after this 2-hour break that you described for the jury that Mr. Simpson would be seated in a chair with ice packs on his body. You recall
Correct.
that? And so that we're clear, that was after the 2-hour hiatus that was taken?
That was after the 2-hour hiatus.
And did you see him in that chair on more than one occasion during breaks or during times when you were setting up a game?
I recall seeing him 2 times. When there is a break, I would be going about a million things going on, but I recall passing by it twice.
And when you would see him on these 2 occasions, did he have the ice bags on some portion of his body?
Yes.
And at times when Mr. Simpson wasn't able to function well during that video, would it be correct that the cameras would focus on other members of the audience, the people in the back and that sort of thing?
Right. What you?
Sustain or phrase the question.
Certainly, Your Honor. Were there times when other members of the entourage, if I can use that word, were focused on by the camera?
Right. We used a 3-camera shoot. That's why you see the 3 blocks. And I know there's, for the most part, one on me the entire time. In many cases, one on OJ and I, or just OJ, and then maybe one master shot or picking out someone from the back.
All right. And at times when he couldn't do exercises, would anything happen with regard to his particular camera shot?
Overruled.
I really don't know if the camera operator would switch elsewhere, if he'd just stay on him, because we had 3 cameras and we know in editing we could go somewhere else, if he'd just stay on him until he regrouped and got back in the flow of it.
And were there times when he needed to regroup, Mr. Simpson?
Yeah, I remember times seeing him where and part of it had to do with he didn't know the routine, that we'd be going right and he'd start going left, but you just keep going. You don't cut, because I know that the camera in editing will fix it.
Now, Mr. Darden asked you some questions about lateral movement. In seeing Mr. Simpson's lateral movement, you saw he had a great problem moving from side to side. Isn't that correct? Okay, did you answer that?
It was a difficult movement for him to maneuver. Right.
And that's the lateral movement, the one from side to side.
Correct.
I was not very gracefully, but I was demonstrating. That was for the record. I was demonstrating that for the court reporter, that lateral movement. Thank you. I have nothing further. Thank you.
No, Mr. Cochran at the plate. Walsh, when the defendant almost fell over, as you described it, you don't know whether or not he was just faking that, do you?
Speculation.
Overruled.
No, I don't.
You don't know if he was just putting on an act.
No, I don't.
And you say that you thought Playboy made a mistake when they picked O.J. Simpson to co-star with you in this exercise video?
Yes, I did.
But he surprised you, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He was a lot better at this than you ever thought he would be, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that's all.
A lot better at finishing this project despite his physical limitations than you thought he'd ever be. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Walsh, thank you very much, sir. You're excused. Next witness. Deputy Bashmaki, you want to grab that? Bring me a small one. A small one.
Willie Ford.
All right, Mr. Ford. Good afternoon again. Mrs. Robertson.
Step back, sir. Step back. Please.
All right.
Raise your right hand, please. You do solemnly swear that the testimony you may give when called upon pending before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, ma'am. Please have a seat on the witness stand and say and spell your first and last names for the record.
My name is Willie Ford, Willie Ford.
Mr. Cochran.
Thank you, Rick Alley. Good afternoon, Mr. Ford.
Good afternoon.
And, sir, Mr. Ford, what is your occupation, sir?
I'm a photographer for the city of Los Angeles.
And for how long have you been employed as a photographer for the city of Los Angeles?
Approximately 13 years.
And are you presently assigned to a particular department within the city of Los Angeles?
Yes, I'm assigned to LAPD SID Scientific Division.
LAPD Scientific Investigation
Scientific
Division?
Investigation Division.
How long have you been so assigned?
13 years.
And as such, you go out to crime scenes and you take pictures, do you?
Yes, sir.
And, Your Honor, may we approach just for a moment with regard with the recording, just for a second?
Without the Ford.
Without the recording first, yes.
All right, thank you, counsel. Proceed.
Now, thank you, Mr. Ford, sir, in connection with your duties with the Los Angeles Police Department, and specifically as a photographer for the Special Investigations Division, did you have occasion on or about June 13th of 1994 to go to 360 North Rockingham?
Yes, sir.
And that's in connection with your duties with the LAPD?
Yes, sir.
And who'd you go there with, if anyone, on that date?
With my boss, David Atkins.
David Atkins?
Atkins.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And how did the two of you get to that location?
We drove
And where did you drive from? To
from
Rockingham?
Parker Center.
And you arrived out at Rockingham at some point?
Yes, sir.
And what time did you arrive at that location?
According to the crime scene log, it was 3:10.
About 3:10 in the afternoon?
Yes, sir.
And prior to your testimony here today, you've had occasion to review the crime scene log, have you not?
No, sir.
Well, since June 13th, you've seen the crime scene log.
No, sir. I was told by the detective on the case that that was on the log.
Okay, which detective told you that?
I think it was
think it was Harrow, Detective Harrow.
Haro, H-A-R-O?
Yes, sir.
All right. He told you that the crime scene log indicated that you checked in about 3:10 at
Yes, sir.
Rockingham? All right. Does that comport generally with your recollection of the time you left downtown and the time it should have taken you to drive from Parker Center to Brentwood?
Repeat that question again?
Certainly, sir. Does the 3:10 time comport generally with the time that you knew you left Parker Center and drove west to Brentwood to 360 North Rockingham? Is that about the time you think you should have gotten there?
I didn't review that the time that I left. I just noticed that the time that we got there was 3:10 according to the log.
According to what Haro told you in the log, is that right? All right. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Now, when you got there, did you encounter and talk with some LAPD detective outside the Rockingham location regarding the reasons why you were there?
Yes, sir.
And which detective did you talk with?
That was Detective Harper.
All right, you talked to Detective Harper, and you met him outside of Rockingham, did you?
Yes, sir.
And did Detective Harper give you some instructions or tell you what he wanted you to do with regard to that location?
Yes.
And what was that?
To videotape the personal property of Mr. Simpson outside, from outside as well as the interior of his home, starting outside first.
All right, and so your idea, your role was to videotape all the personal property, both outside and inside Mr. Simpson's residence. Is that
Yes,
correct?
sir.
And in accordance with that, you've been doing your job for about 13 years?
Yes, sir.
You do your job well, don't you?
Yes, sir.
You try to do the best you can, don't you?
Yes, sir.
All right, and on this particular date, you were there to follow the instructions that you were given, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
So did you start this task by the use of some sort of a video camera?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell us what kind of video camera you were using on that date?
It was a VHS RCA camcorder, full
Camcorder.
size. Yes, sir.
Camcorder? All right. You can look through the little finder and you see what you're shooting.
Yes, sir.
And what you were trying to do in going through the exterior and interior of the house was to shoot anything that was out, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And your instructions were to shoot any and all objects that were out, any and all clothes that were out.
Yes,
when
sir.
you were there, isn't that right?
Overruled.
Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you started outside, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Then you came inside the house, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, with regard to this VHS, this, was it, did you say RCA? What kind of camera was it?
It's RCA.
RCA VHS camcorder. Looking through the viewfinder, you saw like a time on that viewfinder, didn't you?
There is a time on that.
Right.
But this particular day, I wasn't paying attention to
All
it.
right. There was a time. But you found out at some time afterwards that the time that was on that viewfinder was 1 hour behind the actual time. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
So if the time showed 3 o'clock on the viewfinder, it was actually 4 o'clock. Is that right?
Yes.
And that was because of, it hadn't been changed because of daylight saving time?
Right.
All right, sir. So so if we were to look at a video of this, we will see a time, and we have to add 1 hour to that. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay, to get the correct time. All right. Yes?
Yes.
All right. So you started outside, and then you went inside. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you talk to any other detectives about what you were going to shoot other than Harper?
Yes.
You got inside. Who else did you talk
Detective Harrow.
with? Okay. You talked to Harper outside, right?
Yes.
And then when you got inside, did you talk to Detective Haro? H-A-R-O?
Yes.
All right. And with regard to Mr. Simpson's house, you shot first downstairs. Is that correct, with your camera?
Yes.
And then did you shoot all the rooms downstairs?
Repeat the
Did
question.
you go in each of the rooms downstairs in
Yes.
the Rockingham residence? You tried to go in each room. Is that right?
I did.
And you use your video camera in each room, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're an experienced photographer, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then at some point, you concluded and finished shooting downstairs. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. And when you did that, did you go upstairs?
Yes.
All right. And when you went upstairs, again, your role was the same as when you talked to Harper and Haro, was to try and shoot or to pick up everything that was out. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
All right. And you tried to do a good job again at that, didn't you?
Yes.
All right. So did you come up those stairs up towards Mr. Simpson's bedroom?
Yes.
And then at some point, did you go inside Mr. Simpson's bedroom?
Yes.
And did you shoot the top of his bed?
Leading.
It is.
Okay, well, let me ask you another way. When you got to Mr. Simpson's bedroom at some point, didn't you?
Yes.
And when you got to his bedroom, You see any socks on the floor at the foot of his bed?
No.
Oh, well,
You didn't see any socks, did you?
No.
If you see any socks there, you would have shot them with the camera, wouldn't you? They were out on the floor, wouldn't you? You're taking a photograph of those, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Because that was part of your task, wasn't it?
Yes.
Now, and you shot all that bedroom, and you shot, did you go into the closets and shoot in the closets also?
Yes, if it was open.
All right, any door that was open. In fact, Mr. Ford, sir, your instructions were to shoot everything except that you were not to go inside drawers and pull them open. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
But everything else that was out was what you're supposed to shoot, right?
Yes.
And you proceeded to do that. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, while you're upstairs, you shot, I presume, the cameras. You went in each of the bedrooms upstairs also?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I were to now show you a copy of this video, you can tell us whether or not you shot this. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Council's aware of this, Your Honor. This is Exhibit 1068. Is the videotape. I'd like now to let me say a word to Mr. Harris where we'll start yet. I don't want to spend the entire day going all the way through it. I want to get right to the important part. I want to save some time as we're getting close to 4 o'clock. I'm going to ask Mr. Harris to start this video at the beginning, and then we'll stop it after I lay a foundation, then go upstairs. Very well? Mr. Harris, thank you. This is, Your Honor, for the record, Exhibit 1068. All right. Now, where this, you see that, oh, Mr. Harris, back it up with this. Okay, let's back it up. Let's back it up to outside. You see that, well, all right. You stop it there, Mr. Harris? Thank you. All right, you see where it says 6/13/94, that was the date, is that correct?
Yes.
And where it says 2:13 p.m., that should be 3:13 p.m., right?
Yes.
Now, is this the outside of the residence?
Yes.
And was this shot by you?
Yes.
And was this shot after your initial conversation with Detective Harper?
Yes.
All right, and then after you shot this, the exterior, you then went inside, right? Of the premises.
Yes.
All right. All right, Mr. Harris, why don't we then move inside?
This,
All right, yeah, I want to move to, Mr. Darden and I agreed we would then move, save some time to going up the stairs. I want to get to going up the stairs. Let's start at the bottom of the stairs.
his case, he can start where he wants in the videotape. You can play whatever you want that's left.
Now, you, within a few minutes, while we're getting to that, sir, within a few minutes after your arrival at about 3:10, you then commenced shooting the video, isn't that correct?
yes.
And that was indicated on that by showing like 3:14 or thereabouts, right?
Yes.
I think we're ready again now, Your Honor. May I proceed with 10:16?
Proceed.
All right, now,
All right, this is at 307.
all right, now, is this the, you recognize this as being the stairway leading upstairs to Mr. Simpson's home?
Yes.
And that would be about 4:08 p.m. on June 13th, 1994?
Yes, sir.
All right. This was shot by you, is that right?
Yes.
And this is one of the bedrooms, or the children's bedrooms at the location?
Yes.
All right, now you're now entering, it's about 4:13 p.m. You're now entering, is this Mr. Simpson's bedroom area?
Yes.
And you took a photograph of a blanket there, and an easy chair?
Yes.
All right. And you continued on in that room, and you walked into this room, did you not?
Yes.
All right. And you remember seeing this couch in that room?
Yes.
Remember the fireplace in that room?
Yes.
Now stop right there. You stood right in that room, is that correct?
Yes.
And you shot toward the fireplace at that time, is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson's bed was to the right, was it not?
Yes.
About 4:13 in the afternoon, is that right?
Yes.
You walked in that room, you see that, stop again. You took a photograph of something on top of the bed, is that correct, that was out?
Yes.
What are those? Do you remember what those were?
It looked to me like belt or ties,
Maybe suspenders or something like that?
maybe.
All right, there's something on top of the bed, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and you shot that, did you?
Yes.
All right. Now I want to back up a little bit. Continue to shoot, did you now?
This is going forward. You said back
All
up?
right, yeah, well, he's going, we want to back it up. All right, stop it there. You see that carpet there, that rug, right in front of the bed?
Yes.
Saw that rug that particular day, did you not?
Yes.
And in fact, you walked past that rug when you went into the other room, into the bathroom area, didn't you?
Yes.
Any socks on that rug that day, Mr. Ford?
No.
You didn't videotape any, there were none there, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
It was 4:13 p.m. about that time on June 13th, 1994 that you walked through there, right?
Yes.
If there had been socks there, you would have taken photographs of them or video.
Yes.
Correct? All right, you can move it on, please. This is another shot. Now you're shooting from the foot of that bed, is that correct?
Yes.
At that point, you were right on that particular, that rug or carpet there, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Foot of the bed. You didn't see any socks or anything else there, did you?
No.
Then from that point, thank you, Mr. Harris. From that point, you went on into an alcove area where there's kind of a bureau, I guess we can call it. A vanity, I think we call it.
Yes.
In Louisiana, where they call that a bureau, but I guess it's a vanity in California. All right. You saw that? And that's a
Yes.
fair and accurate portrayal? You didn't open any drawers, did you?
No, sir.
But you shot everything that was out. Now, that was Mr. Simpson's closet, right?
Yes.
Did you go inside that closet?
Yes.
You shot in there also?
Yes.
In other words, you tried to do everything that the instructions. There's additional parts of the video, is that correct?
Yes.
You shot everything.
Yes.
Because the time is late and the court would like for me to get close to wrapping this up right at 4 o'clock, I'm not going to show the rest of it.
Okay.
But if we were to show this to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it would be a fair and accurate portrayal of the way these items appeared when you were there on June 13th after 3:10 in the afternoon. Is that correct?
Yes.
You didn't take anything out and move it to photograph? You didn't do that, did you?
No.
You just shot what you saw. Is that right?
Yes.
You didn't make up anything? You didn't add anything or subtract anything, right?
No.
All right. So now, you continued this shoot you went into the closet area?
Yes.
And then did you also go into the bedroom area?
Yes.
May I have just a second here? I'm sorry, Your Honor, excuse me. So you You continued on into the bathroom area, did you?
Yes.
You took photographs up there? Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. And then thereafter, you came out. Did you continue shooting after you came downstairs?
No.
You concluded, was that the last room that you shot?
Yes.
And so you finished your shooting somewhere right after 4:15 or so on that particular day?
I would say yes.
In that particular
Approximately,
time frame,
yes.
is that right? 4:15? All right. Now, this might be a good point, if we might.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take our recess for the afternoon. Mr. Ford, you may step down. You are ordered to return, sir, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
Thank you.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please remember all of my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. Also, do not allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case. I understand that you were advised earlier today that one of our bailiffs, one of our deputy sheriffs who has served with us, Deputy Geb Jahizian, was unfortunately shot and killed yesterday. He went to investigate a prowler at his next-door neighbor's home and was unfortunately shot and killed. And this afternoon, as we affectionately knew him, Deputy G12 and Department 103 will stand in recess this afternoon in his honor. Thank you.